All right, good afternoon, and thank you to the board again for your continued support of Kaywood Elementary in the Kenton County School District. It is my honor to continue to serve as the principal of Kaywood. This is my 6th year as principal, my 12th year at Kaywood, and my 23rd year in the Kenton County School District. I am excited to report that our school's culture is growing stronger each day as we have systemic structures and systems in place. Our growth mindset remains strong, and we continue to grow and hire the very best teachers and staff to ensure that every child at Kaywood receives a world-class education. We have lots to celebrate. Our overall indicator score for reading and math was 69.3, which was in the green high-performing category and above the state indicator score of 66. 62% of our students scored proficient or distinguished in combined writing, which was an increase of 3% from the previous year and above the state average of 43%. 57% of our students scored proficient or distinguished in social studies, which was an increase of 4% from last year and above the state average of 42%, and we were 4th in the district in that area. Due to the growth in our reading and math scores for students with disabilities, we are no longer designated TSI. We saw an increase of 14% in reading and an increase of 6% in math. We are very excited about that. Our MAP growth comparison from fall of 21 to fall of 22 was 59, indicating high achievement and high growth, and we were the highest growth in the district for the 2nd year in a row. 98% of our students believe that adults from our school care about them and work hard to keep kids safe. 100% of our 5th grade students were involved in an extracurricular activity in the 22-23 school year. So while we are super excited, we also have a lot of areas for growth, and I'm going to focus on our school's action plan. Literacy continues to be our #1 priority and the biggest area of focus of our school's action plan, and with the shift of the science of reading and the implementation of our new Amplify comprehensive instructional resource. Math is also an overall area of growth for all students. 50% of our students scored proficient or distinguished in math on spring KSA, and while we did increase by 1%, it is still an area of growth. In addition, our students with disabilities, while they grew, they were still 9% in the area of math. For science, social studies, and writing, our spring KSA results indicate that only 33% of students scored proficient or distinguished in science, and that was a decline from last year. While we are excited about our growth with students with disabilities, we will definitely be continuing to maintain a strong focus on this achievement gap group, and we will continue to implement all the strategies that were successful last year. Another area for growth that we identified in our data is that our English language learners are showing pockets of decline. And for example, only 32% of EL students scored proficient or distinguished in reading, which was a decrease of 10% from last year. And 0% of English learners scored proficient or distinguished in writing, which was no growth from last year. So we have those areas that we're focusing on. Strategies, order does matter here. Action plan, we have 2 shifts. First, implementation of the new CKLA Amplify Comprehensive Literacy Instructional Resource, and that shift from balanced literacy to the science of reading. This includes ongoing district professional development and collaboration, as well as peer observations and intentional fidelity walks to provide meaningful feedback for teachers and to ensure equity in all of our classrooms for Tier 1 instruction in reading. Second shift, continuing our professional learning on the shift from punitive to restorative practices at monthly faculty meetings, as well as the intentional use of restorative questions with students by teachers and administrators, utilizing that important language and conversation to improve positive relationships. Again, this is systemic, this happens no matter what. Monthly learning walks for all teachers to provide specific feedback on the quality cycle of instruction, followed by monthly analysis of school-wide walk feedback and achievement data at faculty meetings. And at these meetings, we differentiate that professional learning for teachers. We utilize Performance Matters and Kaywood's overall assessment results tool to track student progress towards mastery of standards in all content areas on all weekly and common assessments. The PLCs, huge focus for us. That is where we name and claim kids. That is how our school functions. It is embedded in our school's culture. We do have a structure in place to provide intentional planning time outside of the regular school day for our targeted cohorts of classroom and special education teachers who are working weekly to improve instruction in the collaborative setting. We triangulate many data sets, MAP, RI, DIBELS data at each progress check, our MTSS progress check, and we are refining and tightening our MTSS structure and monitoring program effectiveness using data from Performance Matters in order to streamline the programs we use for specific skill deficits. We will continue with our weekly special ed PLC meetings where we review IEP progress data as well as common and weekly assessment data. We will continue with our 6-week data digs where we comprehensively review all of that data and make really important adjustments to instruction. We are continuing our instructional walks to monitor co-teaching implementation and to ensure that all students in Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention classes are also having excellent instruction. We are implementing a new structure for our EL GAP group to mirror the structure that we currently have for special education. We're going to progress monitor 3 times per year. We're going to compare common assessment data and RI data to determine trends in English proficiency versus content mastery. We have been focused on the vision and communication of the 100% transition ready goal for our school and district. Only 52.94% of our 4th and 5th grade students met all criteria for transition ready in the 22-23 school year, with our goal being 100. This is a big rock for us, and we are implementing the following strategies to ensure that all students are reading on grade level and meet the transition ready criteria at each point. I'm going to go through these quickly. We are implementing transition-ready individual student conferences 4 times a year with adult advocates in 4th and 5th grade to review that progress and have those important conversations. We are continuing our implementation of our school-wide attendance plan. At every Monday meeting, we talk about kids, we know who's not attending, and we make adjustments. Transition Ready Tuesdays, teachers in 4th and 5th grade post transition ready messages on social media to remind parents of those criteria and the goals that we are trying to achieve. And this year we are utilizing the reading inventory assessment to determine students who are reading significantly below grade level in grades K to 5 and make instructional decisions for needs-based grouping or tiered interventions. In closing, we are excited to achieve a green high-performing status on KSA in all indicators, and we are celebrating growth in our students with disabilities in both reading and math, and we are no longer designated a TSI school. We continue to celebrate our growth over the last school year as evidenced in our math growth scores from fall of 22 to fall of 23. We were still the highest in the district this year. While we are not where we want to be with all of our data yet, we continue to grow and equip our teachers by providing intentional Tier 1 instruction during faculty meetings, through our weekly memo, as well as our PLCs, while also providing differentiated professional learning opportunities that are led largely by our own teacher leaders. Can I finish? We feel strongly that our current systems and structures have elevated the level of conversation around student data and instruction, and that with our continued daily and weekly focus on the instructional priorities, we will see student achievement rise. Nothing in our school happens by accident.
Unfortunately, Natalie Ewald, our principal, was unable to make it today due to illness. My name is Dominique Cruy. I'm one of the assistant principals, and I've been the assistant principal for the last 6 years, and I've spent my entire career at River Ridge Elementary dedicated to the students and community there. River Ridge is a unique place. We would like to thank you for your support, for Dr. Webb and the board for your continued support. As we have the opportunity to share all of our strategies that we have been putting in place for the past several weeks, and as we work towards proficiency and to have all of our students transition ready as they enter middle school. We would also like to thank Tina Wortman, who's been a huge support as our administration team has changed over, and she's just been a wealth of encouragement. As I mentioned, we are unique because of our size. We have 925 students. With that, we have a diverse population of over 20 languages spoken in homes. And those 20 languages equal 170 students with, who are designated as English language developers. We also have 185 students who are identified as special education. And of these students, we have 3 specialty classrooms that contain some of our happiest and cutest students in our building. First, I would like to share some of our great achievements this past school year. River Ridge was once again designated as a high green school. We are close to being a blue school. Based on our cut scores, we're only 3.8 points away. Our special education proficiency in reading and math increased 22% in each category. While this number is low and it's not our goal of 70%, it is working towards closing the achievement gap in special education. In River Ridge, in 2023, we were second in the district for attendance, and we take this as a point of pride because of our specialty classrooms. We do have a lot of attendance concerns, but we are happy that we were second in the district with 94.73%. It's important for students to be able to access their education, and we know we have great teachers providing that instruction. Our English language development indicator went from a high yellow to a blue on the 2023 KSA. In math, this population students went from 28% proficiency to 46% proficiency. And while I could spend all day highlighting the great things happening at River Ridge, I want to share with you how we're going to work towards being blue in 2024. After analyzing last year's Kentucky Summative Assessment results, as well as other triangulated data, we are continuing to focus on Tier 1 instruction in reading and math so that all students can be proficient in these areas. 2 years ago, we adopted the Bridges in Mathematics math program. This allowed us to better align our math instruction to KAS standards across classrooms and provide teachers and students with opportunities to deepen their understanding of mathematical concepts. This year, along with most of the other elementaries in Kenton County, we adopted the Amplify Reading program. This program provides students and teachers with the same opportunities to align reading instruction to the KAS standards across classrooms and deepen their understanding of basic reading fluency, and reading comprehension concepts. Providing teachers with these valuable resources and tools is a great step towards improving Tier 1 instruction, but it's not enough. We have combined these resources with a new data analysis tool and a new PLC structure to ensure that embedded professional development is provided to help teachers plan and implement the curriculum based on student data in each of their classrooms. We have implemented a structure for reading and math planning by using a backward design model with all levels. The PLC unit planning structure provides all teachers with the opportunity to review and discuss in depth the standards for each unit, the focus, and the outcome of the unit. This structure ensures they are knowledgeable and able to focus on the goals and objectives for each unit. The rich discussion that has come from the PLC provides not only a deeper understanding of the standards, but also a better understanding of how each lesson builds students' stamina and mastery towards standards as they take the end of assessment, the end of unit assessment. As they are teaching the lessons, they are intentionally using formative assessments to analyze student mastery, misconceptions, and adjust instruction in real time. The analysis tool documents each teacher's overall class proficiency, as well as the proficiency of special education students, ELD students, and our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students in that content area. Teachers name students who have not mastered standards and analyze ways that they can reteach and use needs-based instruction to help students meet those standards. Our walk trend data tool has been updated to include the type of task and products students are provided. This data helps us determine whether a knowledge task or a high cognitive demand task is being asked of the students. We know students need to be provided opportunities to respond and productively struggle with each task given in class. Our administrative team compares this assessment data to the individual teacher's walk data to determine if supports are needed for the teacher and how to help them closely align those two data sets. In addition, we're providing teachers with opportunities to vertically align across grade levels and contents to ensure fidelity of both programs. We know that Tier 1 instruction with differentiation is where we will begin to close the gap for all students who are not showing proficiency. Therefore, our second focus at River Ridge this year is implementing a co-teaching model in our ELA classrooms. To full fidelity, I should add. We're working very hard on that. At a professional development session this summer, we trained all teachers on effective co-teaching models that focus on high-yield instructional strategies. We have provided our ELA teachers and special education teachers at each grade level with a paid monthly after-school time so they can work to more cohesively plan together. We monitor this through the monthly walk data in which we are documenting which co-teaching model is being observed. Our administrative team created a co-teaching fidelity marker to use during instructional walks. The best part of this is not only do our special education students benefit from this, but our students who are in Tier 2 and Tier 3 also benefit from this model. We also have worked on our Tier 2 and Tier 3 MTS SEB and creating a better format for our Tier 1 SEB. We are using one program called Second Steps for all of those programs to more tightly align the instruction in that area. Our school counselors are able to emphasize that when they work with our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students, but our Tier 1 students are getting a new program and everyone now has the same language because we know that students have to be happy in the classroom and are ready to learn in order to achieve. This year, we analyzed our transition data for 4th and 5th grade students from last year and are working to tightly align the grading process. We recognize that all of our goals will require dedication and hard work, but our world-class teachers are up for the challenge, and we thank you for all of your support.
Good afternoon. My name is Carrie Holloway. It's my 3rd year as the proud principal at Taylor Mill Elementary. Thank you for the opportunity today to share all the great things that are going on at Taylor Mill. I appreciate the support of the Board of Education, Dr. Webb, Ms. Harney, Mrs. Smith last year, and Tina Wortman on our journey this year. At Taylor Mill, we are committed to a high level to our mission, inspiring passionate learners, creating a community of leaders, and challenging ourselves to exceed expectations. We are committed to living out our greeting, "Welcome to where you belong," by encouraging and supporting students to attend school daily to make sure that they know that they are the reason that we are there, and to help prepare all students to be transition ready for the next steps in their educational journey. As a part of our culture at Taylor Mill, analysis of data is ingrained, and we continue to use the data to guide our instructional decisions. This school year, we started out with a full day of road mapping to ensure that we were all focused and ready to implement goals and priorities. This day of collaborative reflection and goal setting really grounded us and allowed us to discuss what was going well and what areas we needed growth in order to meet our goals. We reviewed our 4 big rocks from last year and committed ourselves to stay focused on student safety, student wellness, the MTSS process at all levels, and finally improving systems to support students with disabilities. Our 3 big successes we saw last year include our overall green rating for 2 years in a row, including a blue rating this year and reading and math indicator with an 86.3 up from a 71.7 from the previous year. Our next success is the major commitment by our staff to professional learning around the science of reading and really taking that to the next level. By the end of this year, we will have 26 staff members trained in Orton-Gillingham strategies to support reading foundational skills through the State Read to Achieve grant. We currently have 6 teachers, our new assistant principal and myself working on letters training, the language essentials for teachers of reading and spelling throughout the state initiative or the Read to Achieve grant. Our staff has made huge gains in their knowledge and implementation of these strategies to support students in learning how to read, and the addition of the Amplify curriculum resource this year has been just the resource they have needed. And third, we met or showed improvement on all but one of our CSIP objectives from the 22-23 school year. When recapping this past year, the area of social studies and writing, we celebrate that our 5th graders scored above the district and state average in both of these areas. It was also great to see growth in our 4th grade science scores. However, we have room to improve as we were above the state average but below the district average. To continue our momentum in content area task groups, we started the year with intentional conversations about vertical alignment and instructional resources. The intentional units of instruction in writing through Amplify are supporting our writing instruction in all grade levels. We are already excited about the increase of science and social studies topics being explored through the Amplify units, providing students with more background knowledge to support them when working on their grade level standards. We celebrate that 100% of those students taking the access test for EL students made growth from the previous year's assessment. We continue to use resources from the ELA handbook and collaborate with our EL teacher as we've seen a slight population, nothing compared to yours, increase in our EL students. Our EL students benefit from our teachers' knowledge and experience in Orton-Gillingham strategies to support students learning foundational reading skills. When looking at our quality school climate and culture safety data, we celebrate that 99% of our students felt that adults from my school work hard to make sure students feel safe. We saw strengths in areas regarding student safety in our school, but saw areas of growth regarding student behavior. We're working on our student behavior through our SEL and PBIS task group to strengthen school-wide procedures, and we'll continue with our ticket system, with the PTA awards and our tokens to our book vending machine, monthly classroom guidance lessons, teacher-led weekly lessons to support social emotional learning for all through second steps. Our instructional priorities and strategies from our action plan this year include, first, our focus on our fidelity walk data to ensure that 100% of ELA classrooms are implementing fidelity markers from Amplify during Tier 1 instruction. By the end of the year, our goal is that 75% of all students and 65% of students with disabilities will meet benchmark on those unit assessments. This will be done using our 2 literacy leads. They will support the Amplify work through our literacy task group. They analyze common assessment data school-wide, review teacher feedback on the assessments. They participate in classroom walks and support implementation through planning and data analysis in grade level PLCs. Last year, our triangulated data for reading was fairly congruent. Our reading common assessment running average was a 66%, our MAP projected proficiency was 67, and then our KSA 23 results showed 58% of students scoring proficient and distinguished. We continue to use that data as well as our diagnostic data from the reading inventory to monitor student proficiency. We completed name and claim activities at our most recent MTSS check to see how the reading inventories were comparing to our fall map. Our MTSS process allows us to support students struggling to meet grade level goals through intentional interventions based on their individual needs. We check their progress and discuss that at MTSS PLCs. We also monitor our students with disabilities through looking at their IEP goals as well as their progress on common assessments through a dashboard used with the special education team. This really allows us to focus on their progress and discuss ideas to ensure that students are receiving the instruction needed to see growth. Our second instructional priority is around math and showing growth on math performance through Tier 1 instruction. Our goals are the same, achieving 75% of all students on the math common assessments and 65% of students with disabilities performing at benchmark. Our strategies include using Performance Matters to monitor that common assessment data and the analyzers that they complete in their grade level PLCs. Our whole school data is analyzed through a math task group. Focus is on grade level common formative assessments, being rigorous and aligned with the standards, and making sure that our CFA align to the district common assessment data to make sure that we're getting to the depth. We use feedback from instructional walks to guide next steps, focusing on the rigor of the standards, how to increase the use of manipulatives and models, and how to move instruction based on responses from all students using tools like Pear Deck to collect responses. We use the same MTSS and special education process for math as we do reading. When looking into this current school year, after a year of staff training on restorative practices, we are implementing strategies from trainings to work through student conflicts and behavior incidents. We've seen a lot of positive results from the work on the building with this. including building student empathy, seeing how their behaviors impact others, and then strengthening peer relationships. This fall, we did our first round of transition-ready conferences with our fourth graders, their adult advocates, and found them to be very successful in ensuring that our students understood the goals and what was needed in order for them to meet those goals. Our fifth graders then took information and presented it to parents in our first ever student-led conferences. It was exciting to see student ownership of their learning, and we are ready to move forward by adding other grade levels to this process. We have work to do, but we are committed to growth and achievement for all students. As one of our core values states, it is the genius of "and" for us. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share the great things going on at Taylor Mill.
And thank you to the Board of Education, Dr. Webb, and all of our central office staff for your continued support at Fort Wright Elementary. Serving as a school leader in the Kenton County School District is truly a privilege that I'm honored to have. After reflection and analysis of last year's Kentucky Summative Assessment results, as well as other triangulated data, our focus at Fort Wright remains consistent, making sure all students attend school daily, that students are transition ready, and that they receive a world-class education. Last year, Fort Wright remained focused on maintaining a positive school culture and a growth mindset to ensure that all Falcons continue to grow. This mindset, as well as clear expectations, accountability to systems and structures in place, followed by consistency, have allowed us to celebrate several increases in proficiency, as well as achieving a very high status score, keeping Fort Wright a blue school for the second year in a row. Fort Wright scored blue in every area, all academics, and the school climate survey. With that said, I would like to share a few of our successes from last year. Fort Wright had the highest overall score in the district on the KSA, which was 87.8. We had the highest proficiency score in the district on our KSA Science. We had the highest proficiency score in the district on our KSA Social Studies. We had the highest scores in the district for students with disabilities on KSA in the areas of reading, science, social studies, and overall combined writing. 83% of our EL students made growth on the Access Assessment. And 98% of our students believe the adults at Fort Wright Elementary work hard to make sure they are safe, which is our biggest Falcon. And 97% of our students feel that they are part of our school. We are super proud and excited about our successes, but know it's imperative to continue to make growth to maintain a blue status. With that said, Fort Wright continues to implement 4 big strategies to improve fidelity and maintain consistency of the multi-tiered system of support for all staff and students in leadership, data-driven decision-making through a progression model, targeted instruction, and data to support student success. The first strategy is to complete our learning walks monthly, weekly, or bi-weekly as needed. Our learning walk data is used to empower and grow our teachers, differentiate professional learning needs, and give high-quality feedback to improve and strengthen our Tier 1 instruction, as well as strengthening instruction for our interventionists. Our second strategy is professional learning. As a school leader, I am committed to providing meaningful and purposeful professional development opportunities that will transfer into actionable classroom strategies to increase our overall achievement. This happens through our differentiated CSIP strategy sessions, job-embedded professional learning, focused on deepening our understanding of the Kentucky academic standards and best practices for student understanding, ensuring student learning tasks are aligned to the intended depth of the standards, analyzing tasks and assessments to ensure varying levels of complexity, planning intentional spiral reviews, scoring calibration, and ongoing professional learning to support and ensure fidelity of our new literacy program, Amplify. I am proud to share that Fort Wright has 19 staff, including myself, enrolled in the LETTERS program, which will deepen stakeholders' understanding of the science of reading to improve our literacy instruction. This year, our IAs are participating in 6 hours of in-house professional development provided by me with the intent of clarifying their role of the IA in the classroom and to maximize their effectiveness by building capacity of best practices when working with our students. Fort Wright has had great success with our lab classrooms, and we will continue to implement them this year. This in-house PD opportunity allows stakeholders to engage in high levels of discourse around best practices, allows teachers to access ideas and instructional strategies, inspires us to improve our instructional practices, which ultimately increases our teacher effectiveness in our building. Another example is a weekly memo to staff that includes follow-up instructional strategies and best practices. It's inclusive of our school action plan goals and data, and classroom learning walk data, including scripted evidence from an exemplar lesson to highlight the elements of our quality instruction cycle, as well as other instructional ideas for teachers to utilize in their daily instruction. The third strategy that we're focusing on is effective PLC structures. PLCs are data focused, which includes tracking, monitoring, and celebration of transition-ready students at all grade levels. All teachers in grades K through 5 administer weekly assessments and common assessments in performance matters in all content areas except literacy. However, students' scores are tracked in our school and district designated Amplify dashboards, which provide quick access to data for analysis and identification of any needed adjustments to instruction or individual student needs. Our PLC time is also used for our teachers to share and model best practices for each other to build capacity within our grade level teams. Our last strategy is intentional training and implementation of our MTSS procedures with a continued focus on implementing intervention programs with fidelity and following the progression charts during our progress checks. The MTSS team and teachers ensure intervention goals match skill deficits and engage in weekly MTSS meetings. Interventionists track student progress and performance matters, which is utilized for Tier 2 and Tier 3 progress checks to identify the level of student progress and determine our next steps. Following progress checks, our interventionists and our administration team utilize student progress data from performance matters to analyze and determine the effectiveness of our intervention programs to allow us to make any needed adjustments. In closing, we do have a lot to celebrate at Fort Wright, but we also know we have a lot to focus on. One thing I know and love about Fort Wright is that there is a very special and unique climate and culture that exists amongst our stakeholders, one that has unified our commitment and belief systems to doing whatever it takes for our students. I am confident you will continue to see great things happening at Fort Wright.
I'd like to start off thanking our Board of Education for your tremendous support of both Hinsdale and the entire Kenton County School District. I'd also like to thank Dr. Webb, Ms. Harney, Ms. Wortman, and Ms. Smith, and all of the central office staff for their support and guidance for Hinsdale. I'm honored to be leading my third year as the Hinsdale principal. It seems just like yesterday I was sitting here kind of getting my feet wet in this process, but to be here these last 2 years, I'm extremely proud of what we've accomplished in these 2 years, but even more inspired about where we're moving as a school community, and I'd like to share that with you today. Our focus every day at Hinsdale is moving all students forward, providing a world-class education, and most importantly, preparing all students to be transition ready. At this time, I'd like to share with you some of our successes that we've had. This year, we achieved a blue rating on the KSA. Not only is this the second consecutive year we have earned this recognition, but also raised our overall score from the previous year, showing tremendous growth. We were the #1 proficiency score in the district in reading, the #1 proficiency score in the district in math, the #1 proficiency score in math for students with disabilities, and one of the highest proficiency scores for reading with students with disabilities. What I'm also proud about is in the last 2 years since our team has been together, we have raised proficient and distinguished scores in reading from 58% to 71%. Over that same time span, we have raised the proficient and distinguished scores in math from 47% to 70% in just those 2 years. But success in the classroom also depends upon the climate and culture in which we create in our building. We have the highest attendance rate in the district. Students want to be in our building each day, and staff. 97% of our students feel our school is a caring place and they feel like a part of our school community. 97% of our students feel that all their teachers care about them and make them feel welcome each day. And 98% of our students feel they have an adult they can talk to if they have a problem. While all these successes are ones that we celebrate, we understand that this type of success, for it to continue and grow, we must identify areas to strengthen our systems and structures. Our #1 priority, as I mentioned earlier, is each year naming and claiming students, all students. We expect all students at Hinsdale to grow. This starts by strong Tier 1 instruction in the classroom each and every day. We are in classrooms each month, providing valuable feedback to our teachers. If we ask our students to have a growth mindset, that is exactly what we need from our staff. We have created opportunities for teachers to observe instruction, not only in our classrooms in the building, but other classrooms in the district where high quality instruction is taking place. We use opportunities to train our staff in our classroom and assessment tools such as Pear Deck, IXL, and Performance Matters. These are just a few examples of where teachers can see instantly where students are on their learning journey and how they can adjust instruction in real time to ensure that students are reaching mastery in the classroom. We are also working to build our PLC structures so that each week our professional learning communities are properly analyzing their data, grade level data, to identify areas with their students where they need continued growth. These PLCs include constant collaboration with our special education team. We now have 3 special education teachers who meet to review assessment data and student progress. Hope that's not for me. We are analyzing data. We are analyzing data. I didn't see a flag. We are analyzing data in PLCs related to the triangulation of data for MAP, District Common Assessments, and the RI, known as the Reading Inventory. We use this data to ensure that students are transition ready by the end of the school year. We are also strengthening our multi-tiered system of support, our MTSS, for all staff and students in leadership, data-driven decision-making, targeted instruction, and data to support student success. Part of naming and claiming all students, as I mentioned earlier, is knowing where every student is with their classroom performance. Each day, teachers work with students during our RTI blocks in reading and math, pinpointing what specific academic standards they need more intentional instruction. Our MTSS team and teachers, they work together to ensure that students who need more intensive support in a smaller group setting are doing so with intervention goals that match those appropriate school deficits. In short, we want to make sure we know where everyone is and what specific areas they need to grow in so that we can fully equip them. Our MTSS team has data-driven progress checks with our teachers and interventionists to determine the effectiveness of those interventions and, if necessary, where we need to make those adjustments to ensure that student success. Finally, we are implementing a 5th grade student transition readiness conference with adult advocates for all of our students. Every 5th grade student at Hinsdale has identified a staff member in the building who they feel they have a natural connection with. And our staff has met with those students to have one-to-one deep conversations about their success in the classroom, but more importantly, what are the things that motivate those students? What dreams do they have? Where do they want to go? We want to start those conversations about what their goals can be now so that they know those goals can become a reality. Because in my opinion, students will work harder every day in school if they feel they have a connection with that school. In closing, you've had the opportunity to hear not only where we are, but also where we're moving as a Hinsdale community. We are working each day to name and claim every student in our building. We feel that the sky's the limit, and our ultimate goal is to become one of the top elementary schools in the Commonwealth. Thank you for your time today, and I appreciate your support.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to be the principal at White Tower Elementary, 10 years now. You rookies. I am blessed to be at a school with great teachers, great parents, and great kids. I truly believe that the teachers of White Tower Elementary are incredible teachers, mentors, role models, and just caring human beings. I would like to say thank you to Ms. Tina Wortman. She's taken over this to control this crew here. Ms. Holloway said the journey, more like wrangling. But before that, we did get an opportunity to work with Liz Leslie Smith. We appreciated her time. And then my original one was Melina Owens. I always go back to Melina Owens. So I just want to say thank you to you 3 ladies for helping me out as an administrator at Kenton County. At White Tower, we continue to analyze assessment data and intervention data through Performance Matters. We consistently monitor Tier 1 instruction effectiveness. We continue to monitor student learning, student attendance, student behavior, and intervention wellness through the MTSS process. We also continue to implement an adult advocacy system to ensure all students have their White Tower Elementary person. These are just a few things that take place at White Tower. Now the board report. When it comes to the state scores came out, we at White Tower Elementary felt okay. Overall, we did a good job, but it's not where we want to be. I believe in Ricky Bobby's motto, if you ain't first, you're last. I do want to say congratulations to Hinsdale, Riley, and Fort Wright for scoring blue in the accountability system. Congratulations. White Tower ended up scoring green, starting with the proficiency indicator, which is the overall scores for reading and math combined. We scored a 79.7, which is the high performing status. The highest scoring grade level was 3rd grade math, was 70% proficient distinguished, and 5th grade math was 64.5% proficient distinguished. An area of growth in the proficiency indicator is that we did go down 2 points from the previous year. The first step in addressing this concern is a strong Tier 1 instruction. We are implementing our new Amplify reading program with Fidelity. We will continue to do PPR walks and Amplify Fidelity walks to provide feedback regarding the cycle of quality instruction as areas are identified. We have gone all in on Amplify. We've purchased other resources such as Amplify M-Class, and Amplify Boost. We've even gone to a printing company and had them print, laminate, and cut out the spelling trees. They're real cute, the little tree, and all the leaves are the words and things like that. The teachers appreciate it. We're also working hard in math. We're doing a lot of peer visits in math, and we are visiting other schools. We've been to Ryland already. The next indicator is a separate academic indicator, which is science, social studies, and writing combined. Whitestyle Elementary scored a 77.8, which was a high performance as well. In science, we saw an increase of 16% proficient distinguished to give us an overall score of 50% proficient distinguished. In social studies, we saw an increase of 9% proficient distinguished to give us an overall score of 53% proficient distinguished. And in combined writing, we saw an increase of only 1% to give us an overall score of 51% proficient distinguished. Our focus was to increase our science and social studies scores, and we did that because we intentionally created a school-wide science and social studies block. This is a protected time for content-specific instruction, kindergarten through 5th grade. We're continuing to excel in these areas with implementing new resources such as science STEM scopes, mystery science, and Generation Genius. Looking at the achievement gap area on the KSA, some successes are students with disabilities in science increased 30% proficient distinguished, and our free and reduced population increased 31% proficient distinguished in science as well. The area we are focusing on this year is combined writing for our students with disabilities. Unfortunately, we had 0% proficient distinguished in this area of students with disabilities. We're focused on co-teaching strategies this year, intentionally doing PPR walks in special ed resource rooms, as well as walks in the collaborative classroom setting. We will continue to individually track these students using Performance Matters as a check for understanding on grade level standards. The last indicator used by the state's new accountability system is the Quality, School Climate, and Safety and Opportunities to Learn survey. Whitestyle Elementary scored a 96.3, which is very high performing. I would venture to say it is one of the highest in the state of Kentucky. This is important to us because Whitestyle Elementary students feel safe, feel loved, and know that we care about them, the whole student, and their success in the classroom and in society. Each weekend, you will see a staff member at an outside school event for our students, whether it be a soccer game, basketball game, dance recital, or even a birthday party. This sets Whitestyle apart. Some of our celebrations: Whitestyle Elementary is green areas, which means the high performing level. Again, reading and math indicator was 77.7. It was green, high performing. Science, social studies, combined writing, 77.8, high performing. The quality of school climate and safety indicator score was 96.3, which is blue, very high performing. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard a lot of us talk about Amplify, Literacy Leaders, Performance Matters, MAP, RI. Those all things cost money, and you've approved those for us to equip us to do what's best for kids in Kenton County. So again, thank you very much.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to say thank you to you, the Board of Education, Dr. Webb, Ms. Harney, Ms. Wortman, Ms. Smith, Ms. Owens, and all the central office staff for all your support. This is my 14th year at Kenton Elementary and the 5th year as principal. I'm very proud to represent Kenton Elementary and share all the wonderful learning that takes place each day. Today I'm going to share with you some of the successes, areas of growth, instructional strategies currently being utilized at Kenton that we believe will make a big impact. First, I'd like to share some of our areas of strength. Kenton Elementary has a green rating on the KSA assessment for the 22-23 school year. Kenton scored over district and state averages for all students in all tested areas. Also, the top 2% of all Kentucky schools proficient distinguished ratings, Kenton Elementary 5th grade writing ranked 4th and 13th for 5th grade math. We are very proud of our students and teachers for their accomplishments in these areas. Our focus area continues to be to close the learning gap for all students, especially our students with disabilities. According to the recent KSA data, 63% of all students perform proficient and distinguished on the reading portion, and 18% of students with disabilities scored proficient and distinguished. That is compared to 36% from last year, from the previous year. And also 67% of all students score proficient and distinguished on the math portion, while 18% of our students with disabilities compared to 35% the previous year. In order to improve student achievement in all areas, administration conducts instructional walks each month in every classroom to provide feedback to teachers around the cycle of quality instruction. Our focus this year is individual products and adjustment of instruction in real time to ensure we are holding all students to high expectations. Strengths and areas of growth from these visits are discussed with teachers in order to strengthen instructional practices. Learning walk data is analyzed to plan monthly staff meetings with differentiated sessions based on the needs of grade level teams and individual teachers. Also, all students complete bi-weekly assessments in reading and math, also common assessments and amplify unit assessments throughout the school year. Teachers set goals with students on these assessments, and staff celebrates students reaching their goals weekly. Plus, teachers celebrate students reaching other grade level goals at trimester assemblies. Along with celebrating student successes, this assessment data is reviewed at weekly PLC meetings, which include general education teachers, special education teachers, and administration. The team reviews data for groups of students and individual students to develop standards-based instruction for remediation. Another way to support all students to make sure students participate in correct skills-based instruction or intervention if needed. Our MTSS team meets weekly to analyze progress monitoring using Performance Matters. Classroom teachers attend MTSS meetings during progress check meetings throughout the school year to provide input on how students are performing in class to help determine the correct tier intervention the students need. After each progress check meeting, the MTSS team then determines the strength of our interventions by the percentages of students that are making good progress. Also, our FRC works with teachers and our RBTL team to help reduce barriers to students' learning. One of the main focuses is attendance. Each week, the RBTL team meets to discuss individual student attendance. If needed, the team creates a plan for the student to help support their attendance. The team gives out monthly grade level and class level awards, and the FRC also works with individual families on how to help their child come to school each day. The FRC also works with our site-based committees on how to involve parents in their child's learning. We have a family math night and literacy night each year. An initiative that is new this year is how to promote literacy to families throughout the school year. The FRC has planned for the Kenton County Library to visit schools during one of our family breakfasts. Also, families will participate in Drop Everything and Read December and a readathon in March. We are hoping that these activities not only promote literacy, but also help families stay involved in the school community. In order to focus on our students with disabilities, administration conducts targeted instructional walks that take place in both collaboration classrooms and resource classrooms. Feedback will focus on specially designed instruction and co-teaching strategies. These strategies are also discussed with general education teachers in order to strengthen instruction in the collaboration classroom. These strategies are also modeled in PLCs, staff meetings, and for individual teachers as needed. Special education teachers attend the weekly PLC meetings to determine progress on core instruction, but they also meet monthly to discuss progress on IEP goals and to discuss district initiatives for special education. These teachers also upload data in Infinite Campus weekly to ensure continuous monitoring of progress towards IEP goals. An additional initiative added to support teachers is providing time for our collaboration teams to plan together outside the school day to strengthen the Tier 1 instruction in the collaboration classrooms. And that is an idea from Ms. Mott that she shared in one of our meetings.
We're also very proud of our social emotional behavior initiatives we have in place at Kenton, as we believe it is important to look at the whole child in order for them to succeed. The Quality School Climate and Safety Opportunities to Learn survey continues to show that students that feel that Kenton is a safe place, with 98% of students agreeing to this on the survey. There was also an increase of students indicating that students at school respect each other's differences. This was an increase from 84% to 96%. In order to make sure students continue to feel safe and supported, all students have an adult advocate that works with them to make sure they are feeling connected to our school community. Also, teachers implement zones of regulation for Tier 1 SEB lessons each week. If data shows students need more intensive instruction, they work in a Tier 2 or Tier 3 intervention using a curriculum that is aligned to their skill deficit. So as you can see, the staff at Kenton is working hard each day to provide a world-class education for all students. I hope you will visit our school so that we can show you the hard work that is happening. Again, thank you for your continued support.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Emily Thompson, and it is my honor to join you all today as the principal of Pioneer Elementary. I'd like to first start by thanking you all, the Board of Education, Dr. Webb, Ms. Harney, Ms. Wortman, Ms. Smith, and all the central office staff for your continued support of Pioneer Elementary and all the schools in Kenton County. It's great that we get to come today to share all of the wonderful things going on in our school, but we also like to come and share all of the continued efforts that we have in place and the things that we're going to be implementing this school year for continued improvement as well. Because even though we have a lot of great things going on in our schools and a lot to be proud of, there's always room for growth. So that being said, I'd like to begin by highlighting a couple of Pioneer's academic successes. So on the 2023 Kentucky Summative Assessment, Pioneer maintained our high green status that we had the year prior. We had high green status overall in reading and math, and then also high green on the quality and school climate safety survey. Pioneer students also scored above the state average in all of our tested areas. And then on KSA math, the percentage of students who were proficient and distinguished increased 10 percentage points from 53% in 21-22 to 63% in 22-23. This was 4% above the district average and 21% above the state average. Another area of celebration for us is that almost 100%, it was 99% of Pioneer students feel that school staff cares about their safety and that they work hard to make sure that they're safe. Additionally, 97% of our students agree that the school staff cares about them and makes them feel welcome at school. And I would argue that feeling safe and secure at school is of utmost importance. Student engagement is also high at Pioneer. We had 99% of all of our students last year participating in an extracurricular or co-curricular activity, thanks to our club day, and we got that wonderful idea from Taylor Mill. We're going to be continuing that this year. Some growth areas for us, reading proficiency overall declined for us, so that is definitely going to be a growth area. Reading proficiency for our students declined 5% from the year prior. We went from 61% down to 56%. And then we also saw a significant decline with our students with disabilities who scored proficient and distinguished on KSA reading and math. KSA reading decreased 19% from the year prior, and KSA math decreased 11% from the year prior. So we have created an action plan this school year to tackle some of that, and we have two main goals in our action plan, and those are to increase proficiency in reading and math for all students, and then reading and math proficiency for our students with disabilities. So in order to do that, we've created a couple action steps. I'm only going to highlight a few today. So the first thing that we are going to do to tackle this is that our admin team is going to continue to conduct intentional instructional walks monthly in all of our classrooms to provide teachers with that ongoing feedback on the cycle of quality instruction. Lesson plans, standards, curriculum maps, those will all be reviewed when we provide feedback to teachers, so that we're ensuring that what we're observing in the classroom and what the teachers have planned is reaching and aligned to the rigor and the level of the standard. and that's so that all students are receiving that quality Tier 1 instruction. This school year, we have also adopted and we are implementing the new CKLA Reading Amplify series in grades K through 5, which I believe is going to help us tremendously, having that vertical alignment from K through 5. So because of this, our admin team has also prioritized and increased our instructional walks in those reading classrooms to ensure fidelity and identify areas of strength and growth. Additionally, we've prioritized instructional walks in our collaborative and resource classrooms to ensure that effective co-teaching models are in place and that specially designed instruction is being implemented as well for our special education population. During those walks, our admin teams will also be utilizing a new walk tool that will allow us to determine instructional trends as a school, as a grade level, as a department, and for individuals as well. And we'll be able to share that data with the individual teachers and with individual grade level teams and with the school as a whole in our weekly memos and in our PLC meetings. And then we'll be able to use that data to differentiate professional development and staff meetings for them. Additionally, our teachers are going to continue to administer all of our district assessments following the district assessment protocol. We're going to continue to utilize Performance Matters in order to provide them with that KSA-like testing experience. And one thing that's important to note, and it was mentioned multiple times today, was the alignment between our KSA scores, our MAP proficiency, and common assessments at Pioneer. Last year, Pioneer's overall common assessment proficiency on reading and math assessments for all students and our students with disabilities was actually within 10 percentage points or less. And I know 10 seems high, but most of those were lower than 10 percentage points. And similarly, our MAP projected proficiency was also within 10 percentage points or less in comparison to actual proficiency on KSA math. So I think that is an indication that we are implementing those assessment protocols properly, and that it's a great predictor for us, that we can use those scores as a great predictor for future performance. We've also restructured our weekly PLC meetings. And teachers are going to be using the Performance Matters data and their formative assessment data to track the mastery of standards and to identify students who are trending below proficiency. They're going to use this data to develop plans for instructional adjustments, plans for remediation, plans for needs-based instruction, and to determine which standards may need to be included in a spiral review. And then additionally to celebrate student successes along the way. In our grade level PLCs and in our SPED PLCs, we're also going to be tracking and reviewing students' IEP progress in comparison to their formative and summative and classroom assessment data. This data-driven approach is going to allow all students to reach their maximum learning potential and then to close those gaps for our students with disabilities. We've also created a new name and claim dashboard that will allow for regular review of various data sets in order to pinpoint instructional needs and to track transition readiness throughout the year. Again, this regular review of our dashboard and all of these data sets, reviewing those regularly will allow us to pinpoint students who are not meeting particular goals and to put some plans and supports in place for them. We've restructured our MTSS process this school year, and we are utilizing Performance Matters as a way to, as a part of that MTSS process this year. Performance Matters is utilized to not only monitor students' progress in each of their interventions, but as a way, we use that along with our MTSS dashboard to track the effectiveness of each of our interventions. And having all of this data at our fingertips allows us to make instructional adjustments in real time, and we're better equipped to meet our students' needs. And then finally, our teachers are going to continue to collaborate in PLCs and staff meetings, district and staff level PDs, and then in our new literacy and numeracy lead teacher meetings to vertically align those instructional resources and practices and to deconstruct grade level standards and ensure classroom instruction is meeting the level and rigor of the standard. We're also able to adjust some of our supplemental positions this year to have a primary and an intermediate numeracy and literacy lead, and we're going to use those leads to continue to move the work forward. We have a lot to celebrate at Pioneer. We have a lot to be proud of, but there's also a lot of work to do, and we have an amazing team in place to continue to make efforts for our students and to ensure all of our students are transition ready. Thank you for your continued support of Pioneer, and thank you for allowing me to speak with you all today.
Good afternoon. My My name is Andrea Krumpelman, and I am the proud principal at Beech Grove Elementary. I am proud to be serving in my 3rd year as principal at Beech Grove, my 19th year in Kenton County, and my 20th year in education. It's hard to believe. I am very grateful for the support of the Board of Education, the central office staff, Ms. Harney, Ms. Wortman, Ms. Smith, and district academic consultants. It takes a village, and I am grateful for the team of support that I have at Beech Grove. We are continuing to foster a growth mindset at Beech Grove as our theme for the year is growing greatness. While we do have several areas in which to grow, we do have accomplishments for which we can celebrate at Beech Grove. On the Kentucky Summative Assessment, we earned a green status for our overall indicator score in the reading and math at 865. On the 2023 Access Assessment, the progress indicator score for our English language learners was a 91.2, which put us at a blue status for this area. 86% of our EL students showed growth according to Access, and 17% of our EL students exited the EL program. On the Kentucky Summative Assessment, our overall percentage of students scoring proficient and distinguished in math was above the state average. This fall, our median student growth percentile from last year to this year on MAP for reading and math is 52%, which was the 3rd highest growth in the district. Also, according to Fall MAP of 2023 data, 61.20% of our 3rd grade students are projected to be proficient or distinguished on reading KSA this spring. As a school, we have several growth areas that we are addressing. Based on the 2023 KSA data, only 19% of our students scored proficient or distinguished in writing. This was a 39% decrease from our previous score. This indicator score greatly affected our scores in the area of writing, science, and social studies, which fell in the orange category. In addition, we are still identified as a TSI school in the area of disability. While our percentage of students with disabilities scoring proficient or distinguished in reading increased from 11 to 13% last year, the percentage of our students with disabilities scoring proficient or distinguished in math dropped to 5%. Our percentage of students scoring proficient or distinguished in math increased as a school from 41 to 44, and the percentage of students scoring proficient or distinguished in reading remained the same at 46. So we have jumped right into work this year at Beech Grove with an intentional school action plan full of structures and action steps that we are going to put forward to make our school grow. One of our first action steps is the implementation of the new Amplify CKLA ELA instructional resource focused on the science of reading. We are utilizing the Amplify CKLA fidelity markers for grades K to 2 and 3 to 5 to give feedback on implementation of the new resource. We are providing opportunities for our literacy leaders to lead PLCs with grade level teams to assist with questions and support for implementation of the program. We are providing opportunities for teachers to observe other classrooms within our building and in other schools to gain perspective and new ideas for classroom instruction focused on the cycle. 6 teachers in our school in grades K through 5 and 2 of our preschool teachers are participating in letters training to further their knowledge and growth around the science of reading. Intentional learning walks by the administrative team in reading and math, as well as science, social studies, and writing, are occurring to monitor instruction and provide feedback around the cycle of quality instruction. We are ensuring that all of us are calibrated in our instructional feedback and utilizing this feedback to plan differentiated professional learning for our teachers. Effective professional learning communities is one of our top priorities at Beech Grove. In PLC meetings, both academic and SCB data is used in real time to make intentional adjustments to our instruction. In PLCs, an assessment data is analyzed in reading, math, science, and social studies, and students are being named and claimed by teachers to guide next steps in instruction to close instructional gaps. Weekly data analysis of common assessments and Amplify CKLA assessments to identify skill strengths and areas needing to be retaught, ensuring all assessment protocols are being followed at all grade levels. To increase achievement in writing, we have implemented a consistent strategy for all grade levels when answering short answer and extended response questions. The use of this strategy will affect all content areas and create consistency from one grade level to the next. Intentional writing reviews are occurring throughout the year and are being implemented to calibrate scoring and identify strengths and areas of growth to guide next steps in instruction. All grade levels are using a consistent strategy to organize ideas for on-demand writing in alignment with our school writing policy. The writing policy outlines the expectations for each grade level to build from year to year to create consistency and strengthen student writing as they progress through to the 5th grade. School-wide on-demand writing prompts are being held monthly to ensure that this is happening. Writing non-negotiables have been established at each grade level. All students are held to the writing expectations, and writing expectations will not only affect writing instruction, but will also affect how they answer questions and all other contents. In the area of special education, both our regular education and special education teachers are analyzing data together in Performance Matters and using our ELA dashboard, using systems to analyze this data to name and claim our students to provide needs-based instruction to close instructional gaps on specific skill deficits. The administrative team continues to conduct targeted instructional walks in collaborative classrooms to observe implementation of co-teaching and provide feedback based on the cycle of quality instruction. Both regular education and special education teachers meet weekly to develop intentional co-teaching lesson plans, utilizing effective co-teaching models, ensuring that we are designing instruction to the rigor of the standard for our students. Through recursive data analysis with our MTSS core team, we are triangulating all pieces of data to ensure that students are receiving the level of instruction that they need, either needs-based or tiered interventions, in order to be successful. Utilizing data, planning for intentional spiral review of standards throughout the year, and implementing reteaching of skills and standards that students have not mastered through flashbacks. In the area of SEB, we continue to train staff on restorative practices. All staff have been trained in restorative practices, and staff are implementing restorative practice in the classroom, and administration are using restorative conferences when meeting with students. The number of behavior referrals in August and September of last year to this year has decreased by 35%, and our behavior referrals from October of last year to this year has decreased by 25%. Our staff is owning restorative practices, and we are proud. Monthly PBIS meetings are occurring to monitor data and putting structures in place to positively incentivize students. Behavior Reward Challenge celebrations are occurring twice per trimester for students who are earning 90% positive on dojo points over a 6-week period. Our school quality and climate survey shows that students feel that the adults at Beech Grove care about them and that the adults work hard to make sure that they are safe. We are working hard daily as a Beech Grove team to strengthen all tiers of instruction, create consistency and expectation and rigor at all grade levels. The teachers and staff at Beech Grove are committed to provide a world-class education for our students as we continue to grow and thrive. We appreciate your continued support. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Dan Shacker. I'm the proud principal at Ryland Heights Elementary. And of course, like the others, I would love to start off thanking Dr. Webb, Board of Education, Ms. Harney, Ms. Smith, and Ms. Wortman, and all of our central office staff for their support and guidance. Big thank you for your continued focus on what's best for our kids and our teachers. I know the last handful of years we've had a number of different resources been provided, from one-to-one technology, moving on towards our learning management system and Performance Matters, and then this year with the literacy program. We appreciate your investment, and I think I can speak for all my colleagues in saying we greatly appreciate all the continued support you provide for our teams. So at Ryland Heights Elementary, we have a lot to be proud of. I'll get into the assessment scores, but my main point of pride are the kids and the team we have there in the community. I invite you to come at any time. It's an infectious culture where the kids are happy, like Dr. Webb referenced. They bring the effort and the positive attitudes every day. Our staff is amazing. They have a growth mindset. It's a great place to be. And it's evidenced by some of the success they've been having with assessment. Most recently, our KSA scores that we received. Our students went up in every academic area. So we went up 5 points in reading to a 68% proficient and distinguished. That was in the top 8% of the state. We also went up 4% in our math scores to a 62% proficient and distinguished. That's top 12% in the state. We also had a lot of success in these separate academic indicators, went up 7%, with social studies. We also went up 3% in writing, but that's at a 73% proficient distinguished, and that is top 7 and 7% in the state. And then lastly, science, we went up 9 percentage points to where we're in the top 3% of the state, and also 3rd in our region of all the regional schools. So all of that, super proud of the achievement that our students demonstrated. Also with the quality of safety and climate survey, we had 98% of our students state that they feel that all students get what they need to be successful at Ryland, and 99% of students said that their teachers make them feel welcome in all of their classes. So as we've heard stated before, we need kids feeling safe, happy, and welcomed in order to achieve. So what is all this attributed to? A lot of things. First of all is that everything is intentional. So we keep a focus on our action plan, and we reference that regularly as teams within PLCs to ensure that we are on the steps needed towards our areas of success. Also within that, something that's been very beneficial for us is the MTSS rubric. We call it a roadmap, actually. It's extremely comprehensive, but it has a lot of different areas that you need to satisfy if we're going to become world class. So we use that to celebrate areas that we have achieved, but also to identify areas that we need as an entire school to satisfy in order to move forward. Also, our learning priorities, of course, effective instruction at all tiers. So reaching the standards and making sure that students are receiving needs-based instruction in areas where they're needed. We do that through monthly walks for all teachers. Our administrative team gives feedback tied to the cycle of quality instruction. And then at least weekly, we meet as an administrative team to review that data and identify trends and areas for both individual and collective growth, so professional development opportunities that we can do within job embedded or after school faculty meetings. We have a lot of different structures in place in order to provide that growth for our staff members to help impact our students in a successful way. Also, PLCs, like I shared, I believe that our district has never been in a better place when it comes to data. We have so much data right at our fingertips, where it used to be that we had to input data back in the day and make our own data dashboards, only to then get to analyze the data. Not any longer. Now our teachers, and they're used to being in those PLCs where we pull that data up, we triangulate the data, and we're able to make the best decisions we can to impact students immediately. And then along with that, also using that data within the classrooms. Same way. They have more data than ever through formative assessment to where they can make adjustments to instruction immediately in those classrooms. We can't wait. You got to be able to impact those kids immediately. Also, the CBAS, our community-based accountability system, is very comprehensive as well, but it is a great structure in place to make sure that we satisfy all of those areas. If we want our kids and our staff to be world-class, then we need to be able to meet all of those areas, the different pillars that they're under. So we use that as well as a guide to make sure that we are satisfying the different areas, not just in academics, but also with the communities, with the safety in all areas to make sure that we are going towards world class. With reference to our action plan last year, we met our first goal, which was having 75% of students demonstrate proficiency on common assessments. We met it, surpassed it. We had 82% of our students in reading show proficiency for the year, and just under 84% in math. Our second goal we fell just short of, and that was students demonstrating good progress during the intervention checkpoints within MTSS. That's for students who are in Tier 2 and Tier 3 in both reading, math, and SEB. We've already put things into place this year, one of them being that we can utilize Performance Matters now to where we're tracking interventions, to where not only the success of the students within the interventions, but the interventions themselves. Also, with our MAP data, our fall MAP data indicated that we are in the high achievement and high growth quadrant for both reading and math for all students. Also, our projected proficiency data indicates that grades 3 through 5 are higher than they were a year ago in fall of 2022. Transition readiness is an area that we're focusing on as well, to where you've heard some of my colleagues talk about the adult advocate program we've put into place for our 4th and 5th grade students. We ended up being a little over 71% 4th and 5th graders transition ready. While that was a few percentage points higher than the district average, it's not good enough. Our district goal is 100% of kids transition ready. So we have to implement different ways to improve and ensure that our students are transition ready. Few areas of focus moving forward towards the next year for our kids. One is that our students with disabilities, while we increased on the KSA in reading, we decreased slightly in math. None of that was high enough. So we're instituting co-teaching strategies within every collaborative setting. Also ensuring that we are tracking IEP progress data and that all kids are getting exactly what they need to be successful. Also, ensuring that the Amplify reading program is being taught to fidelity. That's been a great experience as we're all learning together, something that we're not used to doing, everything new for everybody. But lastly, just want to share again how super proud I am of the Ryland Heights Elementary community, the students and the staff. They're an amazing group and they'll keep succeeding. Thank you.